Welcome in, Canvas Warriors. Today, I'm going to show you how we are going to get subs into Canvas, or how you're going to bring in a sub into Canvas, and also how you're going to do this via Zoom. So we're going to start with the Canvas side of things. What you're going to do is obviously you're going to be logged in to your Canvas course. And if you're going to be gone for a certain day, you need to add a sub to your Canvas course so they can deliver or at least be able to follow along with the content that you are teaching them. Okay. Before we jump into how to do this, though, what I want to talk to you first is that we've created two different types of sub accounts. The first sub account is for short-term subs. And with the short-term subs, we have really limited the number of things that they can do in Canvas. So, and this is for obvious reasons. Really, if it's a very short-term sub, all we need that short-term sub to be able to do is to get into a course and be able to follow along with students or to show students what they need to be working on. So a short-term sub can only basically do that. They cannot edit any of your assignments. They can't put in grades. They can't edit any pretty much anything that you've created inside of Canvas. In fact, their permissions are probably less than what a student can do. So really, it's more just about being able to view an assignment or your modules or your discussions for that day, so that way the sub can walk the students along in that process and make sure that they're staying on task for the day. The other user account we've created is a long-term sub account. So for those of you that know you're going to be out for a little while and you need to give that sub a little more rights, then you can. So if you trust the sub that's going to be working with you, then I would assign them the long-term sub role. And I'll show you how to do that here in just a second. But the long-term sub role has more rights than the short-term sub role. Now, the long-term sub role does not have the entire teacher permissions, but they do have editing permissions for assignments and pages and quizzes and those types of things. So the difference between a short term and a long term is basically the short term has no editing rights and the long term has some editing rights. Not all, but there are some things that they can't do that I turned off for them. Okay. So when you have a sub, you get to choose between which permission role that you want to assign them. Now, these accounts that we've created, these are the short-term sub accounts. They're temporary. So our secretary, Sue Barlow, will assign a user account to your sub, and that sub will have a unique password every week. So that password will actually change every week, just for security purposes. Okay. So you won't have to coordinate with the sub, and we won't have to create unique usernames for those subs. They will have a generic one, and you will be able to assign them those user roles and not have to worry about them accepting the Canvas course invitation. And also the same thing for Zoom as well, which I'll go over here in just a minute. So say you have a sub, right? And Sue Barlow, our secretary, will let you know which sub account that substitute will be given for the day that you are out. So if it's, say I'm out on an A day, which is periods, 1 through 4, I need to go into those classes and assign that sub to my classes. So I'm going to click into my period 3 course here, and I'm going to go to people, the link on the left. So I'm going to go to people and click on people. And then you're going to see a list of people in here. Okay. And you're actually going to see, I've already actually added biz sub number 1 in here. I'm going to remove this sub real quick, and I'm going to select remove from course. I'm not going to deactivate the user, and I don't think you guys have that option, but just in case you do, just say remove from course. And by the way, you need to remove that sub after each time, and I'm going to go over that also. But I'm going to hit the plus people button, and you're going to get the add people option. So here, this is why we've created those sub accounts for you, because if you were trying to coordinate with a sub, you'd have to put that person's email address in there, and they'd have to accept the course invitation. And it's just a lot of hoops to jump through for the sub. We wanted to make this a lot more streamlined. So my sub is number 1. So I'm going to type in the email address that Sue Barlow provides me. So the biz sub 1 account is biz.sub1. That's the first one. There's 3 of these. So there's biz sub 1, biz sub 2, biz sub 3. So I'm going to hit the @ symbol, and then it's the full email address. So these actual accounts are actually what subs will also use to log into the computer in your room, when they watch your class. Okay. Now, when you assign the permissions down here in the role area, you're going to select the 2 different ones. So you have substitute short term or substitute long term. So remember, substitute short term basically has just viewing rights, and substitute long term has more editing rights. So I'm just going to be out for a day or 2, and I just need to select the substitute short term. Okay. And then from there, I just hit the next button on that, and it'll say, okay, the add users, and just add the user. Don't worry that it's pending. Okay. Now here's the deal. Some of you might be asking, well, why don't I just leave a sub role permanently in my people? And the reason for that is because when you have a sub, the sub is going to log into Canvas, and you want that sub only to see your courses. So that's why it's super important that after every time, after your sub job is over, you remove this sub account, or you move this person from your roster. And I know you might have to write down on a sticky note or something like that. But so far, this is the only way we're going to be able to do this. Now, maybe in the future, Canvas will add a substitute feature that will automatically, remove a sub role or a sub person, from your roster. But as of now, you're going to have to do that manually. So say the next day, the sub job is over. You click on this, the 3 dots in the right-hand side, click on that, and you're going to select remove from course, just like I did just right before I added this person. Okay. And it's important you do this for all of your classes. Obviously that your sub is going to be subbing for you, because, and I'm going to go ahead and sign out of my Canvas course real quick so I can show you what this looks like for the sub. So this sub role, I just need to type in biz.sub1 and then type in the password that Sue Barlow gives this sub, and type that in real quick. And then log in. So then this is what the sub is going to see when they log into their dashboard, and it's going to show the courses that they've been invited to. So they're going to hit accept, and that they're going to see your courses right in their dashboard for the day. So that's why it's so important that at the end of the sub job, you remove that person from that. So that way, like if Sue Barlow, if one sub is using that username, and then that a different sub comes in later in the week and uses that username, that other sub doesn't see the previous job the other sub was doing and get confused about which courses that they're looking at. So it's just it's not, it's not dire that you don't remove it, but it will help a lot for those subs, as they navigate, to the different classes and stuff. So super important that you make sure you remove that person after the sub job is over. So like I said earlier about the permissions here, when you get into their class, pretty much all they're going to be able to do is look at a class. So they're not going to be able to create a new assignment or anything like that, right? Like when they go to assignments, they don't have the same options that you normally would have for a teacher role. So that way they can't really do anything inadvertently to your Canvas course. Now, I recommend you add your sub also to your Zoom, so that way subs can run your Zoom class by admitting students in or whatever. Maybe you've set this up differently, and maybe you're going to be working from home and you can do the Zoom, or maybe you're just setting it up as an asynchronous day. But if you would like to have your sub check in with your Zoom students, the sub account will also work in Zoom. And in order for the sub to work as a co-host, you need to add them, or as a host, you need to add them as a co-host. If you just give them the link, they won't have the ability to admit students into the waiting room and things like that. So with your Zoom open, and to edit, if you're using a meeting or if you're using a personal room, it's kind of the same deal. You go to edit. Now, if you're using a recurring meeting like I am, when you hit the edit button, you are going to have to edit all occurrences, because Zoom won't let you add a co-host to just one occurrence. So like the Canvas piece, you need to remove your sub from your Canvas course. You also need to do the same thing after the sub job is over with your Zoom. So just two things. You might write a sticky note on your computer, put it on your monitor just to remind yourself, remove sub role from Canvas courses and from Zoom after the job is over. Okay. So you hit edit all occurrences, and you're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom here, and you'll notice that I have Mr. Rogan as one of my co-hosts. But to add that sub into your options here, you even notice that the sub roles even pop up. So there's long sub there, short sub. So I need to add that BIS sub 1 role in there, and then just click save, and that's it. Now that sub will be able to log into Zoom and admit students. It's important that, and I'll have a set of instructions for subs as well, so they know how to navigate Canvas a little bit and how to get into your Zoom. But it'll be important that you tell the subs to log into Zoom first before they click on your meeting link. That way, there's no problems, right? So make sure you have them log into their sub account in Zoom first, so that way there's no problems with getting into the meeting and allowing students in, things like that. Okay. After your sub job is over, if like I use recurring meetings, I need to go in and edit all occurrences once again, and to remove that sub from my wrong class. To remove that sub from my my Zoom meeting, from all my Zoom meetings, I need to hit that edit all, and then just click the little X button for that user, and it goes away, and it'll go away for all of those occurrences also, and then you just hit the save button, and there you go. Okay. So if you have any questions about the different roles, or, making all this work, please don't hesitate to reach out and ask those questions. This is kind of the patch that we're using with substitutes. And if you have any things that come up, love to hear about them so that we can make quick adjustments to this and make it as smooth and user-friendly for your substitutes and for you as well, moving forward. So thanks for tuning in, and see you next time.